Most dogfights are over in moments. They are brutal, violent, and fast. But on November 18, 1952, high over the Sea of Japan, one American pilot was locked in a battle that just wouldn't end. For 35 minutes, he fought against impossible odds in what would become one of the longest dogfights in the history of the US Navy. But for 50 years, the world wouldn't know it happened. The entire incident was erased, buried under Cold War secrecy. Why? Because the enemies he faced that day weren't supposed to be there. The day started with a Siberian blizzard howling across the deck of the USS Oriskany, an aircraft carrier stationed off the coast of North Korea. Despite the terrible weather, the mission was on, for F-9 F-5 Panther jets launched into the storm for a routine combat. Air Patrol. After breaking through the clouds at 12,000 feet, the call came from the ship's command center. Boogies detected, heading straight for them. The order was simple: intercept. One of the pilots, Lieutenant Royce Williams, scanned the sky and spotted them. 7 faint contrails, impossibly high above. They were Soviet MiG-15s, the most feared jet fighters of the era. In an instant, a routine patrol had become a fight for his life. Williams was at a huge disadvantage. His jet, the Grumman F-9F Panther, was a tough, reliable workhorse, but it was a first-generation, straight-wing jet. The MiG-15, however, was a race car. With its swept-wing design, it was faster, could outclimb the Panther, and flew higher. In a head-to-head fight, the MiG was simply the superior machine. As the Panthers climbed to meet the threat, the flight leader's jet developed a fuel pump problem, forcing him and his wingman to turn back. It was now just Williams and his wingman, Dave Rowlands, against 7 of the world's best fighters. A new command came from the carrier: do not engage, but it was too late. The MiGs were already diving on them. Williams keyed his MiG, I am engaged. The Soviet pilots were aggressive, diving on the 2 Panthers. Williams twisted into a hard turn and fired a burst at the last MiG, which fell away smoking. In the chaos, his wingman's guns jammed, leaving him defenseless. He was forced to dive for the clouds and head for home, leaving Williams completely alone. It was now 1 American Panther against 6 Soviet MiGs. Williams knew he couldn't outrun or outclimb them. His only hope was to outturn them. He had to drag the MiGs into a turning fight, a deadly high-speed dance where he could use his plane's stability against their weaknesses. A MiG flashed past him. Williams slammed his jet into a gut-crushing turn, got on the enemy's tail, and squeezed the trigger. The MiG shuddered as the shells hit home. 2 more came at him head-on. Williams fired, forcing them to break off. Another got on his tail. Williams reversed his turn, forced the MiG to fly past, and raked its fuselage. In just a few minutes, he had started to even the odds. What followed was half an hour of controlled chaos. For 35 minutes, Williams was in a constant, swirling battle, pulling punishing G-forces and snapping his head around to track the enemy jets. He later described the fight with chilling simplicity, saying he couldn't focus on just one enemy, but had to aim, hit, do some damage, then immediately maneuver to defend himself. A 3rd MiG locked onto his tail. Williams turned into the attack, met him head-on, and fired. The MiG went down. A 4th came around. Williams fired again, and parts flew off the enemy aircraft as it dove away, mortally wounded. In the space of 30 minutes, a lone American pilot in an outclassed jet had shot down for Soviet MiG-15, a feat no other American pilot would achieve during the entire Korean War. But his victory came at a cost. A MiG got a clean shot. A 37mm cannon shell tore through his Panther's wing and severed his hydraulic lines. His controls went loose. He was flying a crippled jet, was completely out of ammunition, and 2 MiGs were still on him. With his plane barely controllable, Williams shoved the nose of his battered Panther down, diving for the safety of the storm. Clouds, the 2 remaining MiGs chased him until he vanished into the white abyss. He broke out of the clouds just a few hundred feet above the freezing water. He had to land the plane, but he found that if his speed dropped below 170 knots way above normal landing speed, the plane would stall. As he neared the fleet, his own side opened fire, mistaking his profile for an enemy's before being frantically called off. Aboard the USS Oriskany, the captain took a huge risk, turning the carrier to give Williams a straight-in approach for the high-speed landing. Somehow, Williams slammed his crippled jet onto the deck. He was back. The ground crew would later count 263 cannon and shrapnel holes in the battered frame. The Panther was so damaged, it was deemed a total loss and pushed off the deck into the sea. The story of Royce Williams is an incredible testament to skill and raw courage. There are countless stories just like his, forgotten battles and unsung heroes waiting to be discovered. If you want to see more of these amazing tales from military history, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let us know in the comments what battle or hero you think we should cover next. When debriefed, Williams reported shooting down just one MiG, but his superiors knew this was a direct clash between two global superpowers. Admitting an American pilot had shot down for Soviet airmen could have ignited World War III. The order came from the highest levels. This never happened. One of the main reasons for the secrecy was that the NSA had learned of the MiGs through signals intelligence and didn't want the Soviets to know their communications were being monitored. The official records were scrubbed, and Williams was sworn to secrecy. For his heroism, he was quietly awarded a Silver Star with a citation that mentioned only one enemy plane. For 50 years, the longest dogfight in Navy history remained a secret. It was only after the fall of the Soviet Union that information from Russian sources began to corroborate the story, confirming the loss of 4 Soviet MiGs on November 18, 1952. Finally, on January 20, 2023, more than 70 years after the battle, retired Captain Royce Williams was properly recognized. His Silver Star was upgraded to the Navy Cross, the service's second highest award for valor.